I'm not sure because of quarantine of Friday Night Space Boys. We are traveling through space on the Boss Lady. And who would like to give a recap?
I'm pulling up
Oh,
notes
boy.
here.
I was gonna say it's always Rozo's notes because they're the best.
I don't take notes, and I blame that on having a lot of attention deficit disorder.
Oh,
And
I get that. I mean, that's I don't take anything for mine, and that's why my notes are always how they are. Let's see here, because it begins. Whoa, double Rick. We get called in by Miss Barcinas. We forgot to do anything about the cameras during the fight, and she saw everything.
That's right.
So she asks us where we're going. She lets us know that Talon is one of the Guardians of Time. And Talon's being surprisingly helpful to us. Zik, who is the Vulcanuf, who has merged their intelligence with the ship, with the Boss Lady, is going to change the transponder for us. And we've renamed the ship Boss Lady. We take off. Getting through the asteroid belt was a bit tricky. Bella is terrible at computer lingo, and so it's having a hard time giving me sensible instructions. But she has the Force and mind melts with Zik.
Maggie in real life.
yes.
I attempted to expunge the ship's original AI, which is unhappy that Zik is invading, but I'm not able to. So I'm just blocking it for now with hijack. And that's, I think, or that's why that's where my notes left off. Maybe that's where we left off.
Yeah, I mean that's a good amount of it. I know I had that engine thing that I took care of on the Boss Lady. Successfully managed that.
I think that was the getting through the asteroids. We each had a challenge to deal with there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got a challenge. You got it.
Yeah, that was more or less it. Ty and I had an awkward conversation there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I really remember. Yeah, that's it, right? We had the conversation with Boss Lady, and she was like, "You guys can go, but be careful." And then we went.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was like some awkward conversation between me and Card, given that he's like a Time Lord or something.
Super into you.
And your
Yeah.
boyfriend.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a third wheel somewhere.
True.
But I'm guessing I don't know where Minty is at this point.
That's fair.
Maybe in the mid bay. Who knows?
I imagine Minty like going through the whole ship, just making sure that they've seen everything so that they can chameleon blend into any part of the ship that they want to, and now just sneaking around
Yeah,
so we can't find them.
it's fair.
Or maybe just riding on the roof of the ship.
Yeah.
That would be problematic.
I was gonna say, can they do that?
You would think. I don't know. Minty.
Considering,
How far do these shape-shifting abilities go?
considering that the outside of the ship is fucking vacuum.
Now I'm having memories of a certain bard who would just become a dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
The ship is Minty. We're gonna find that out. It's like what? Farscape? Wasn't the ship alive?
Bards
It was a
can't
life
just
form?
become
Yeah,
dragons,
Moya.
Chris.
Moya.
You're
I
making that up. All right. So you guys are hurtling through space at several thousand kilometers per hour
Woo!
on a ship that is roughly 400 meters long. There are lots of places to explore, lots of things to do. You've got a couple of days before you're going to reach the rendezvous point with Card and the Lady Luck. Anything you'd like to get done? Any exploring that you want to do on the ship? Any customizations or anything like that we can talk about? And then we'll have the encounter with Card and his people.
I know. I think maybe this happens a day or, because how long is this trip? A couple days?
It's at least a week and a half.
At least a week. So yeah, a day or so after that awkward conversation between Bella and Ty, I think Ty would hunt down Bella at some point, and just say, "Hey, you said you were kidnapped, huh?"
Yeah. I was 11 or 12 at the time.
Oh, what happened when they took you? Did someone come find you?
Yes. I was been scripted to serve in a rebellion army. Because of whatever the hell this is, right? All of the children on my planet who have these abilities are more or less kidnapped when they reach their preteens and these things show up, and they're put on one side of the conflict or the other. There's like 6 sides, I think, so I don't really know.
Wow. It, I suppose, puts things into perspective. It's horrifying.
It is complicated, but yeah, I don't love it, definitely. And I was there for 5 or 6 years. I got pretty good at what I do, probably too good. And I started to kind of lose it a little bit. I lost a bit of control and I needed out. And apparently, the person who got me out was Talon, so at some point I seem to owe him quite a lot.
Yeah. Well, you don't. He's doing this of his own real
That's
choice,
why I'm
I
here.
suppose.
Right, he got me out because he thought that I would be useful to this mission that, to be completely honest with you, I don't understand why I would care about, other than the fact that apparently I am only off of Miriam because Talon needed me to complete this for whatever reason. So here I am. I won't
Whatever
be
the
beholden
reasons
to him
are,
after this.
Whatever the reasons are, I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I think we'd be fucked without you.
It seems a lot like we would be more fucked without you, but I appreciate it. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. But that's fine.
And none of us do.
What about you?
What about me?
I mean, without being rude, you're a bit older than me. But you were kidnapped. I assume that was a long time ago, or?
It was a long time ago. It was decades at this point. But it's just a point of bitterness for me that you assume when you're kidnapped from your parents that your parents would, I don't know, give in to the demands of the kidnapper.
That would make sense, I imagine, if anyone had given my mother the chance to get me back, she would have moved the heavens to do so.
It wasn't a heaven that needed to be moved. It was a little piece of corporate information.
And that's what's led to all of this, right?
Well, one day. That was the thought, yeah.
Your parents kept their information and left you.
That's right.
I don't know. That put things in perspective, because for me, I at least always knew my mother was missing me. She would have done anything to get me back. So there is that at least.
And hey, that's why we're here. The people, the very people that kidnapped me, they're the ones that brought me in under their wing.
Yeah,
why I fight for them.
So, your parents didn't give them what they wanted, but they didn't kill you, so that's something. And now you're fighting against the corporations that I assume your parents work for, own?
Well, they don't own it, but they have enough influence. In the Tycho Corporation, of course.
Have you seen them since?
Not once.
That must be lonely, though.
It can't be.
Yeah. Your kidnappers turned you into a weapon, just like mine. This is a weird friendship, you know?
This is... Yes.
Interesting. I wonder how many of our friends have been kidnapped.
Perhaps we should ask them.
Wow, the universe is fucked up.
Well, some would say it's magical.
Some would. Don't know how that works either. Wow. So where the hell are we going? What? At some point, somebody's going to tell me what I can do to be useful, right?
Well, for now, we're going to meet Card to dump all of this data.
Right.
But after that, I don't know. Oakrith Prime has been thrown around a few times, but I'm still not convinced that's where we need to go.
How do we, once we give Card the data, I thought your organization was going to do the actual sabotaging.
That's right. So we will likely, be contacting them at some point. But once the data's out of our hands, our hands are clean until next thing, I suppose.
But where is your organization located? I assume not Fayus.
I would call them nomadic. Can't stay in one place for too long when you're labeled a terrorist organization.
Got it. There's no home base then.
It's a cluster.
Were there any more on Fayus, or were you there alone?
If they were, I was not made aware of them.
So you're like a spy.
It's an accurate word, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Behind enemy lines. I like it.
All right. Well, you two are talking. Sprocket, down in the engine room, you're kind of taking everything in, and you notice that there are a couple of the readouts that are a little concerning. It looks like you guys are burning about 20% less fuel than you should be. And that one of the engines is only at 20% power.
Oh, okay. I mean, I imagine that if that's the case, I think nothing of going to investigate the engine and see what I can determine. Has it, as far as I know, has it been this way from the beginning, or has this developed over time?
It looks like it developed over time.
Okay.
So investigating the engines, there are sort of three main components. There's just like on a a gas engine, there's the fuel intake, and then there's the transmission, or sorry, the fuel intake, and then like the actual combustion chamber, and then there's the transmission that then kind of sends it out over to the generator to be made into energy. The transmission is probably the biggest part with the most moving bits to it, because the fuel intake and the combustion chamber are all nuclear, so they're kind of like heavily layered, and like it's sort of tough to get in there without shutting shit down. So the easiest thing to do would probably be to open up the transmission, but it's all like super dangerous, so be careful as you open that up.
I mean, if it's only working at 20% capability anyway, I'd probably power it down, let everybody know I'm going to, so they might notice a little, decrease.
They're not going to notice. I mean,
yeah, probably not a ship this size, but I figured
No.
20%, might be noticeable, like a little, oh, something feels a little off, the gravity or something.
Yeah, in general, you've got the two main engines, and then the third one is a backup. And then there's like an auxiliary power, and there's all kinds of backups and stuff. So if you shut down one of the engines, it's not really going to be noticeable. So you can go ahead and do that. When you open up the engine, there's a compartment that's probably the size of double French doors. And you kind of open it up or whatever. And there are 4 mostly decomposed bodies in there.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to send out a group text. Hey guys, I shut down an engine that was having a problem, and I just found 4 decomposed bodies in here. Want to come take a look?
Are those the ones that we killed?
I doubt I don't think we put them in the engine. We put them in a cargo container. Yeah, so I would say
They're back at Borsini
yeah,
Station.
exactly. I'd say I highly doubt it. I think these are 4 different bodies.
I'll be right there.
Okay then.
Are the computers on this ship, is it all networked together? Can I access all information from
full mesh?
Okay. I'll check and see if I can find any record of that in the ship's computer then, see if there's like what?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't know if there was like I haven't figured, like, don't know if there's like surveillance on the ship, or if there's sensors on doors, or how logs are kept by the previous crew.
All of it.
So I'm gonna be looking for, as soon as Sprocket texts that there's bodies in the engine, I'm gonna start looking through ship's records to see what I can learn about that.
Depending what you're picturing, Rick, with decomposed, are we talking if I were to die and just be right here in my seat decomposed, or like they're like damn near, like if I were trying to move them, they're brittle, they'll fall apart, like they've been in a high heat area, like what's because if I can, I'd like to see if there's any identification information, including like the wrist computers, some sort of ID that I can get to Brozo.
They are all wearing uniforms that have a ship name on it, but it's not the ship name of the boss lady before you changed it. It's something different.
Oh God. Well, any information I get off of that, I'll drop into the group text of like, this is the ship name, and if it's just like last name style jumpsuits, I'll be like, yeah, this is.
This ship was designed to run with a small crew, 5, 6, or 7, probably. Even though it's enormous, you could probably outfit a full 40 on here pretty easily, but you could also run it pretty okay with 4 or 5 people. One of them is a Wookiee. One of them is a Twi'lek. One of them is a Klingon. And one of them is a human.
I'll relay all of that, but now I'm starting to think, at least me and probably my character, like, well, maybe more me outside of it, is how did this was the ship from the bay that we were working on, right? Like that we had the firefight and all that. Like,
But they probably stole the ship before we stole the ship. Double
yeah,
stole
it sounds like they weren't the original crew potentially.
Oh,
which means that AI may know more than.
Yeah.
So, Chris, as you dig, you are going to. You're not going to find anything older than about a month. And everything older than that, other than the engine like maintenance logs and the absolute essential stuff like the air filtration change schedules and the electrical maintenance stuff and like the fuel logs, everything that's surveillance or crew or cargo manifest, everything that's non-absolute essential to running the ship is completely expunged.
Okay, so I can determine that it's just that data's gone.
Yeah, it's just not. It's been overwritten 12 times with zeros. Like, it's fucking untraceable.
It's like a clean install.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On the operating system, everything else is gone.
Totally know what that means.
Yeah.
The other thing that you will see is that the all of the passwords were changed. The captain access was changed right at the beginning of the data that is there.
Okay, well, I will relay that via the text chat to everyone's monitors that the ship was definitely probably traded hands recently before it traded to us. So
I would definitely share my speculation at that point then that I wonder if this is the previous crew.
Okay, we should probably all get in one room.
Mm-hmm.
The ship name from before is the Iron Eagle. The Klingon was the captain.
Are the bodies in enough of a state that I can get them out of there? Because as a mechanical monkey, all I can imagine is my character would be like, yeah, bodies, but engine. Like, engine be good. I want make engine good.
I want make engine good.
It's gonna take some work, but you're definitely going to want to do all of that before you try to start it back up.
I'm gonna need a squeegee and like a nice metal.
A lot of degreaser.
Oh no. Well, I know how to do that, so I will move them out as kindly as I can, and whenever they start arriving from whatever distance on the ship, I'll just be scrubbing.
I'm gonna come and help him as he removes the bodies. I'm gonna drag them to like all the way through over to this little thing that says the bubble. And take
That's a long distance.
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it and lay them out respectfully, and then we can figure something out.
I would be probably gagging and puking.
So,
yeah.
Bella, before you do that, I would highly recommend that you place them into some sort of containment device, like a body bag.
Yeah. If we have anything like that, I'll wrap them up in like a shroud of some kind.
I'm really casually, while you're doing that, Maggie, as I'm just like scrubbing, I'm going to just, let you know real quick, like, you don't really have to take that much care with the Klingon body. He's already gone on to Tovacor so long as he had an honorable death, and his body was just a vessel for the soul, and it doesn't matter anymore. But okay.
That
You'll also notice that the body bags
Love Klingons.
and the inside of the transmission are all stamped such that the name of the ship should have been the Iron Eagle before it came to you guys.
Okay.
Well, what was it called when we first encountered it?
It had no name.
It didn't have a name.
It was that
It was
ridiculous string of
It was just a
that's
number.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. I remember that.
which is not uncommon for cargo ships. Like that, it
Sure.
didn't necessarily raise any red flags.
And I'm very curious about that AI now, just as a player. Like, I mean, I imagine my character would be too, but focused on get engine work good. Like,
I want make engine good. I wrote it down. That's the only note I've taken.
I want engine make be good. Is that it?
I'm gonna. Yeah.
that should be like, if I ever do speak, that's how I speak. Like, some sort of stereotypical, like, oh, this Native American's going to try to talk. Me, make engine good. Okay.
But you text when in the King's English.
Yeah. Well, I do declare.
What was that, Chris? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna check the sector net to see if there's any information about a ship called the Iron Eagle.
Generate all the records.
You find that it was a free merchant ship out of Okrith Prime that was commissioned over a year ago for a long-haul exploration. Had a 2-year mission on the books. Was not expected back for another several months.
You said it was a trading mission? What?
Yeah, it's a free merchant ship out of Okrith Prime. And they had a 2-year exploration mission.
Oh, exploration.
Oh, so this ship, based on that, doesn't sound like it was tasked with moving this data and maybe it was hijacked. It was never the intention of this ship, and it's just been used as, a mule.
That's what it seems.
Oh, damn. Well, now I feel a lot worse for that crew. They weren't like bad guys.
They chose their exploration poorly.
No, the crew that you guys fought was of the ship with when it was with numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, I assume like some sort of pirate, space pirate or something.
That would not be an unfair assumption based on the information that you just found out.
Oh, well, shoot, we can, the navigators merged with the ship. We can ask them, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Certainly that AI was aware that either they were conscripted by the pirates or originally there and then repurposed.
I'll inquire with Zik whether or not they were aware of the bodies that we just discovered.
No. They weren't in the logs, they weren't in the records, and there's no reason for me to have a camera inside the transmission.
Does Zik recognize these names or people whatsoever as maybe previous crew they interacted with? Or I assume probably purged, but wishful thinking, I guess.
The data that I can see is all in bad sectors, and it seems like it's been expunged, but then parts of it looked like they were only scrambled. But scrambled in such a way that it was hastily done and poorly. Almost, it's really hard to decipher exactly how the data got this way, but it's in such a mess I can't make anything of it.
Is there any tools or anything we can do that would help you restore some of that or descramble it?
I could try to do a defrag, but I'm just overwhelmed trying to keep this other AI out. I can still manage the ship, I can do all that, but I don't have any bandwidth for data analysis while I'm not battling, but while I'm containing this other rogue AI.
Well, I'm still I'm still interested in taking a crack at seeing if we can remove that AI. What research or prep should I be doing, Rick, to before I make another attempt at this?
So there are all sorts of resources that you can use on the linkings, and you can do some reading on removing AIs from ship cores. You can do some reading on formatting data cores or excluding data cores from a mesh network. There are a couple of different ways you could get it out. It's not just going to be banging away at the keyboard, though.
I'll ask Zik while they're doing their side of the containment if they notice any sort of unique markers in the code or clues of any kind, so I can search for more specific tools to this situation, because my general attempt before was not specific enough and was not successful.
Yeah. So the way that a core on the way that an AI works on a ship like this is there's one central core. And that central core probably has several different backups in it, and then there are nodes all over the ship. Whether they're cameras or two-way speakers or different places where an AI could put code and interact with the other meat sentients on the ship. There are also gravity nets everywhere that require constant tweaking to make sure that you don't go splat, because we're going, like I said, several thousand kilometers per hour. So there's lots of different places, but in general, in the central core is where the AI would most likely have itself and its backups. But all over the network would need to be purged first, and then but it's up to you how you want to do it. But there's a lot of different places for it to hide.
Okay, so that's probably why it wasn't successful the first time. So I think I'll spend some time really getting familiar with this particular ship, looking at all those different points, all those different nodes, and I'll use my hijack skill to practice individually accessing those systems in order and see, so I can get familiar with all of them. And once I've had a chance to do that, I would go. The next time I make the attempt, I would want to be monitoring the whole thing more holistically, and tracking that all at the same time, rather than just focusing on the core. So I don't know how long that'll take me, but that's what I would be working on right now.
Okay. The thing that you're going to notice first off is that everything runs inside the bulkheads. So all of the wiring, all of the infrastructure is very limited as far as access to your crew members. The cameras are recessed and flush. The speakers and voice talk is flush with the bulkheads. You have to actually open everything up in order to get to it. And everywhere there's a door, somewhere near, whether it's above or to the side, depending on the configuration, there's a network switch. Essentially, there's a repeater, and there's excuse me. So, how familiar are you with our real data networks?
Just basics, just general on that.
Okay. So you've got essentially fiber running through the walls that's on media converters to go to the cameras and to go to the voice boxes, and then near the doors there's repeaters and like network switches that you can splice into real easily, so you don't have to actually cut and re-terminate the fiber because it's really fucking difficult. And then, so if you need to, you can add shit pretty easily, but each one of those boxes has its own sort of tertiary core that the AI can spread out into. So what you have to do is you actually have to go to each one of those, fully reset it, and let Zik get into it. And so that's going to take some time. Because you got to open up the bulkhead, you got to access the individual thing, you got to manually reset it, and so it's going to take some time, right?
Okay. So actually, once I realize that's going to be the task, I'll see if Ty, with his tech background, will actually help with this. So see if we can speed up the process, because I think the sooner that we can get the original AI out and get full control of the ship, the better off we'll be when we have access to more data.
Do you want to expunge it completely, or are you just trying to contain it?
I mean, that would be my question of if it was, what kind of AI is it? Like, is it a self-aware AI? That
it's fully self-aware.
Could be argued as a being. Ty would have reservations about expunging it. But if it's just sort of like a Siri on steroids.
No, it's fully self-aware. You also are on a ship full of data cores.
Right.
Just saying.
I mean, we did go through that entire firefight with the original crew. If we've got one more thing that's preventing us from accomplishing any of our goals moving forward, if it's not willing to work with us, it's either with us or it's not, right?
Here's a creative solution. We could, I don't know, like download a spaceship simulator and put it on one of those data cores, and then like hack in our AI into that simulator so it just thinks it's going on its business, AIing a ship, while we give our AI full control.
That would work. Just imprison it on a non-networked data core.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe set up whatever that device is on one of those nodes before you reset it and let Zik into it. Maybe it ends up going to that and going into this tech. Then bam, off the system.
And Ty, if we did that, if we've got the separate backup, the original AI imprisoned, we can expunge the other copies off the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good plan. Let's give it a shot.
The other thing is, as you guys get deeper into this, you're going to know, and you're going to be able to find out from your interactions with it and from Zik investigating continually, that this AI was loaded by the pirates.
Okay.
This AI is definitely not affiliated with the Iron Eagle at all.
Okay. So we're not
the
going to get
chances are the ship's
sympathy.
actual original is gone. Like,
Scrambled.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, we could
scrambled
learn
to the
something
point
from
of not coming back, but some of its knowledge may be recoverable. The original
we
ship's
get the
AI
rogue
is
out.
gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, thank goodness for Zick.
So, okay, yeah.
All right, Ellipsis. This comes down to you, but before we do that, we're going to have Ty give us a interface roll to see if he can assist you in your final download.
It's the final download.
Da-da-da-da.
I was just thinking like Iron Eagle sounds like a great like heavy metal name.
Dude, have you heard of Iron Eagle? Fucking just thrash.
Iron fucking Eagle, baby.
Well,
Like, every time I go to test out a new comm panel, like it was left on a station that's just blaring this crazy music.
What is this? It's Iron Eagle, bro.
Do you know
Oh
what
my
that means in
God.
Klingon?
It probably means what Klingon does in English.
Oh, that'd be great.
I've got an Iron Eagle. Hold on, let me get some toilet paper.
You're gonna need the pliers for that one, buddy.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
That explains why there's pliers by every toilet.
That's what the
Klingon.
shells were for.
Oh my god.
All right, so with an 8, Ellipsis is going to get a +1, but if you fail, the whole thing is going to come crashing down and the AI is going to go down. Like, not just, like,
Good.
but it's going to, like, partial success from Ty means that a failure on your part means full system reboot required.
Oh boy.
So worst case scenario, we lose the rogue AI and it dies. Oh, well, you know.
I didn't say that.
Oh damn it.
We might lose our friend AI.
Yeah, could be that. Or all the ship systems are like, and done keeping an atmosphere. You know, like
Or
ship-
gravity.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
all
that
the
would
things.
be.
Ooh, you do not want to lose some inertial dampeners when we're at this
Yeah.
speed.
I mean, the only reason this ship can be run with, a handful of people is because of
High
its
automation.
high automation, right? Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good point. All right, don't fuck this up. I mean, if you guys have seen Expanse, then you know what happened when they hit the ring. That's going to be
Uh-huh.
us,
Yeah. Oh, such a good show.
Season 4 was so good.
So good.
So I think I don't remember if I finished season 1 and started season 2. I started season 2 for sure.
Yeah, season 1, like even if you felt that slow burn, which it was.
It
Season
was
1
a slow burn.
but
Yeah.
by the end you're like, holy shit! to
Yeah, it
think
finally got
I
good.
was thinking so little of this, and then suddenly I'm like, fuck.
And I was just like, oh, it was all just set up. Okay, now it's getting interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I bounced off The Expanse not once, but I think twice.
oh yeah.
Because I just gave up after a couple episodes.
I read the
But-
books first. I'm glad I read the books first because I would have bounced hard off the show.
Yeah. The episodes were very slow moving.
But then, I don't know, by late first season,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop watching.
And I love Avasarala. She's so awesome.
Oh god. Every time she curses, it doesn't feel like one of those like they just forced it in because hey, look, we're on Amazon or whatever too, or like sci-fi or anything.
No,
it always
she-
feels genuine. She's like, what the fuck are you thinking? It's like, oh, be
And-
still my heart.
The
Oh.
explanation in the book was so great. She's like, "Yeah, I curse so that everybody around me feels uncomfortable because I'm supposed to be a lady, but fuck that."
Yeah.
She's
She's so
yeah,
good.
She's great.
Anyway, all that tension and build up to squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're back to don't fuck this up or we
Don't
might
fuck
die.
it up.
Everybody might die, Chris. Don't roll bad.
Too good.
Okay.
Make
There-
roll be good.
Well,
There are things called.
Make roll good.
What are the pluses in this game? Data points?
Data points.
I do have 1 data point.
You might want to use that.
Okay. Oh, to get +1 to the roll. I forgot I could use it that way. Okay, I was looking at my skills that use them to see if there's anything that could help in this situation. So yeah.
Straight up +1 to your roll.
Okay, cool. So we'll do that. I'm burning that data point. And I've got a +1 from Ty.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got +2 already. And then my interface is a +2.
Oh man, you're gonna like max dice roll like super ultra success.
Just
Hopefully.
don't roll snake eyes is all.
All right.
And not
So
in case I jinxed it.
So I click the +2 button
Click
twice?
no, just click +2 and we'll add to it.
All right.
Full success.
Count it.
Okay.
Full success.
Nice.
All right. So the pirate AI is now contained within the core. You're still going to have to
That was
down.
a stressful click, guys. Like, I'm having flashbacks. You got to understand. Like, so finishing college, for 12 of my credits were from tests that I took, Dante's tests for credit. And it was my last semester. I needed 12 credit hours to graduate, right? And my counselor was like, oh, well, you're going to take those 4 tests, right? It's like, yeah, I'm planning to take these 4. And if I get credit for all 4, then I'm done. And she's like, well, go ahead and walk in the graduation ceremony. I'm like, I don't think I should do that because if I mess up on a test, I don't have enough credit, right? She's like, yeah, you'll be fine. So I walk in this graduation ceremony in May that summer, 2008, before I have enough credit to graduate. And then I have to take 4, and I plan to take these tests 1 a week in June.
Oh, God.
And they're on the computer. So I get my results instantly. I click the button for my results. So every time I took a test, I clicked the button. I was having flashbacks to that just now.
Oh, that's great. I
So
can
thanks.
just imagine being like,
Thanks for that, Rick.
You're welcome. So the rogue AI is in the data core, contained fully within a backup core in the computer hub. Right? You're still gonna have to download it to a separate data core. You have 2 choices. You can overwrite the data on one of the cores that you have, or you can wait and get a empty one from Card and his people. Or you can leave them in the backup. And you can unplug it and disconnect it and leave it in cold storage. You'll just be down a backup core. So you have 3 choices.
Unless Ty objects, let's say if we just leave it in storage for now, we can download it onto an empty core when we meet up with Card. I'm kind of loath to destroy any more data.
Yeah, I don't want to overwrite any data. Unless there is a way to, consolidate the cores. Like if there's 12 cores and spread across them, there's 11 cores worth of data.
Yeah.
Put a couple of zeros behind that.
Well, yeah.
And it's going to be a daunting task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why we can't, just leave this off net for, at this point,
it won't be forever.
2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to shut it down and leave it in cold storage?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. As you are doing that, Bella and Sprocket are laying out the bodies in the bubble.
mm-hmm.
These are in not the best shape. 7,000 RPM, couple of weeks in 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. It's
gross. Like
they're-
mushy?
Yeah, squishy.
There's no, skin necessarily.
There is, but it's all sort of...
It's there, but once you try to grab an arm to move it, you deglove the hand.
Yeah, you ever overcooked a pot roast?
Disgusting.
You know how if you do ribs really well, they just fall off the bone? That, but hands.
But with, like, people.
Okay. Oh, well,
I imagine aliens now, like, oh man, fall off the bone humans are the best. When you can just pull the rib cage out and just, oh, you got all that breast meat.
oh God, that's disgusting.
As you are laying them out, you find a necklace that the Klingon was wearing that is in the exact shape of the boss lady.
Oh. Can I take it off and just like take a closer look at it? Just any engravings or anything?
It looks like a key. Like it's not. It's not like something that you would know as like a normal American 2020 like put in a door key, but Space Bella recognizes it as something that you can use to unlock data.
I think that this is probably going to be important. I'll send a message if Ty or Ellipsis are not down there with us. I'll send a message to them, tell them I think I found something. Might be more your guys' speed. If you want to come take a look.
Zik sends a message to all of you.
Bring that to the bridge. All right. I'm going to make sure the bodies are respectfully laid out. And I'm going to kind of just, even though it's gross, like touch the forehead of the Klingon and say, I'll bring it back, I promise. And then head up.
Okay.
This is not my thing, but here's this.
Bella would know how to do this.
Oh, okay.
Right. Have you ever used a Nintendo Amiibo? Do you know what those are?
No.
Do you have any like nieces or nephews who play Skylanders?
I don't have. Yeah, no.
Okay.
No nieces or nephews.
So D&D
Have you been watching
minis.
Westworld?
No.
Damn it!
Sorry.
Do you have Apple Pay?
Yeah.
Ah!
Yes. Thank you, Michael Parker.
Yeah.
NFC
That
Communications.
was much better.
There is a place where you can like set this down.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a designated pad. It's like an encryption key. So.
Okay. I will wait till the others get there, but I'll do that.
Okay.
I'm working on the engine. That's my #1 priority right now.
So Sprocket, you're not going to be in the bridge?
Not unless Zik says I have to be there because it's my lifeblood is to make sure things are working mechanically well.
Give us more power, Mr. Sprocket.
I'm down there being the Scotty. I'm giving all I've got.
I want to make it good.
Oh, it's so good.
I would have been digging graves in the bubble.
Oh.
Graves?
Yes.
Okay.
So I would be like head to toe dirty, but when I heard,
is there enough dirt in the bubble to dig a grave?
I mean, look at the
so.
reference of 100 meters. That thing's 100 meters by like 50 meters.
Okay.
Oh well, maybe less than that. Maybe like
it's only marginally less.
It's like a football field.
It's big. Yeah, we play football there. You don't remember that from a week ago? We were playing football with me.
I mean, there's a fountain in the middle of it, so maybe not. But
well, we jumped over the fountain. We turned off the gravity.
You could easily play half court.
Yeah.
All that water from the fountain's just floating around.
Oops, didn't think about that tree.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that totally makes sense.
All the birds that we have in there just floating.
Oh god, I can't imagine a bird in Zero. Oh, poor bird.
Oh, Are you?
But yeah, I would show up to the bridge covered in dirt.
Sprocket, let's have you roll to see how things are going with the engine.
Sweet. Let's see. I mean, I imagine that would be my expertise more than interface, because I'm kind of doing something more mechanical than interfacey in my mind.
Correct.
Not great. I'm having a rough go of it. I haven't worked on quite such a large engine.
And there's a lot of viscera.
Yeah, every time I think I've got it cleaned, I find more goo.
For whatever reason, Wookiee hair and the inside of a transmission just doesn't get along.
I recall seeing how, like, Ty and Bella were handling things, so everything I find, I try to determine which of the four, and I have, like, 4 little boxes that I put it in, so I'm like, this looks like Wookiee hair. This looks like a human finger bone. Like everything I find. I'm trying to be respectful so that I can hand you a box of viscera and chunks, because I think that's a nice thing to do. We'll see how that plays out.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Something really cool that I thought after I read it is that one of the things that they did on the long haul ships in this book was to, I mean, obviously this is all science fiction, but they would take the bodies and they would let them decompose, and then they would use them as compost, and then that compost would be used to grow the plants that helped stabilize the oxygen filters and like the CO2 mitigation on the ship. So if you're going to be digging graves, then those will definitely help enrich the soil in the bubble.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, Bella's definitely going to try and do a ritual at some point before all of this is said and done.
I'd be interested to hear exactly how that ritual goes. If you want to, if you're comfortable doing it tonight, we can. If you want to do it next time, we totally can. If you want some time to think about it.
I could probably do it tonight.
Okay. So Larson's going to stick with or Sprocket's going to stick with the engine. Ellipsis, are you coming to the bridge?
Yeah, I pretty much, I figured this is, unless I have a reason to leave the bridge, I'm not a pilot, but I have, convenient access to most of the computer systems. So, and I figure because, Zik's kind of as our pilot navigator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but to this point, we've been working on getting rid of the pirate AI. So now I'm going to be doing what I can to assist Zik, or send an ampersand as necessary to help assist with seeing if we can descramble any of what was previously purged.
Well, you might have a little bit easier time of that now that Bella found the encryption key.
Nice.
Ty, you're on the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bella, when you put the encryption key on the NFC pad, you set it down, there's a huge, open sky that comes up on the main view screen, clouds and just perfect blue sky, and then this eagle, flies across the screen and, comes closer, and then you see its face, and it opens its jaws, and then, comes straight at the screen, and then it all goes black.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes up and says, password accepted. Log in? Question mark.
It wants my login information, or do I want to log in?
Do you want to log in?
Yes.
State your name for the record.
I don't want to.
You guys are about to be sucked into Tron while I'm down there tinkering with an engine.
Belladonna.
Captain Belladonna.
Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh no.
State your name for the record.
Belladonna.
There are 3 entities in this room. Belladonna has already been recognized. State your name for the record.
Can we start over? Because I don't want to be... Okay.
Ellipsis.
First mate, Ellipsis, recognized. Thank you. State your name for the record.
I'm Marinsa.
Quartermaster, Ty, Marinsa, recognized.
Captain?
Just, I don't know. I want... I'm very uncomfortable. As captain, can I put somebody else in charge? Or do I have to listen to this thing?
You're the captain.
So it spells out your names correctly, like puts your titles next to it. The screen goes black again, and then it comes up with a full holographic readout of the ship. And you see orange lights on the middle engine, green lights on the top and bottom. Auxiliary power shows green, shields show green, life support shows yellow, and waste shows red.
Great. Didn't know that's what this was going to be. Probably would have given a different name.
Well, Captain.
I send you a text message that says, "Congratulations, Captain," which implies somebody told me. Real down low.
I hate everyone. Great.
I don't like red. Red's bad.
Okay.
What was red?
Waste.
It's all those Iron Eagles.
Lots of shit, apparently.
All those Iron Eagles, the pliers plucking them away.
Chris, give yourself another data point.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm never gonna hear those 2 words together and not think to myself Dingleberry. Like I think it's stuck this way for the rest of my life.
That was
my
not the
God.
way I expected tonight to go, just for the fucking record.
One day, we're going to still be saying Iron Eagles, but we're not going to remember how we got to that.
Right.
And that's what'll make it great. We'll be like, it means poop danglies, but we don't remember why.
No fucking clue
We just
why.
need to all start using it in the context of anything that's kind of a bit of a clinger. You know, whether that's a child who won't leave you alone, like, oh man, my kid's being such an Iron Eagle right now. We'll know what that means, you know? It'll be great.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Oh, fuck.
Why is the waste red? We haven't been out here very. I thought that all of that was done already. Wait, shit, was that my job? Probably was her
It
job.
might have been, I don't know. We kind of left in a hurry, so it is what it is. I think we all know what to do.
Well, I'm the captain. Somebody go clean out the poop.
It's not actually the poop.
Is it the body?
Is it fuel waste?
Yep.
Is it nuclear fuel waste?
It's a byproduct.
What an inefficient engine.
Because there were fucking bodies in the transmission.
Yeah, and I keep finding bits.
Those pirates weren't very smart.
Mm-mm.
Needle.
What did they do to you, boss lady?
I don't know what that means, but it sounds very bad.
And Zick pipes up and says, not to be a wet rag, but life support's on yellow.
Some
Well-
ship to be made captain of, right?
If our fuel waste gets too out of control, our engine is gone.
Yeah,
And
that's
if
definitely priority number 1, but don't forget about the other 2.
Yeah.
So, waste system is red, life support was yellow. What?
The second
Well,
engine
The
was
engine
orange.
I'm working on is also Oh, there you are, Rick.
So I froze for a second. What'd I miss?
We were trying to remember
Just
what you said.
confirming the systems, yeah.
The waste system is red. Life support's yellow. One of our engines is off. And what were the other things that you mentioned?
Everything else was green.
Those are,
Everything was
yeah,
green
everything
across the
else
board.
is green.
Okay.
There's only a couple of things really fucked up.
So what do we need to do for this fuel waste?
We should probably ask Sprocket about it. It's kind of outside of my realm. I don't even really understand the mechanisms of what makes these drive engines work, so...
Sprocket,
I'm going to text Sprocket and
tell
say...
me about how the fuel... Oh, sorry, Maggie, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to text Sprocket and say, report for duty.
Oh damn! Now I have to come up there. I say, yes, Captain, right away, Captain.
I'm laughing hysterically. This is not a good play. They should not make that the way that it works. I have no idea how ships run.
I scurry to the bridge, however long that takes.
You have two-way voice communications. Like,
well, she said to report there, so I figure I need to physically leave.
Okay.
Otherwise, yeah, I'd be working and just like what, or like what.
I'm just gonna when he gets there, I'm just gonna be like, I'm not actually in charge. What do we do about the waste?
I saw something that showed to me that in some sort of human documentaries that this was some sort of salute, but I can only remember it's an arm race, so I put all four arms like this.
That is, yeah, very funny. It's great. We're all gonna die or something if we don't figure out the waste.
Yeah, it's basically that, Captain.
What
Captain,
do we
my
need?
captain.
What should we do? Is all.
Well, I would say one thing. Like first and foremost, when we were maintaining the ship, because we did a lot of work before we launched, the like any sort of waste refuse should have been cleared out. Like we left in a good like empty situation. So this is literally due to that engine probably running badly and maybe some other reason. Is that kind of, or did we leave in enough of a hurry that we didn't really handle emptying out?
You guys got everything done
waste?
in the docking bay.
Okay, so it's probably more due to how poorly that engine was running. It was producing dramatically more waste and burning through fuel, but not efficiently. That's cool.
Yep.
Well, if the engines are based on like nuclear tech, that would mean that we'd have like spent rods as well as nuclear waste byproduct. That is not shit we want to throw out into space.
Space is full of radiation, isn't it?
Not wrong. Just chuck it out there, hope it works out. I mean, it wouldn't exactly ruin any nearby stars. Maybe we could literally jettison some towards some stars. But
so you probably want to investigate the system before you.
I'm thinking all like getting.
We'll just start ejecting random shit. Like, maybe that was it.
For all we know, we'll get down there. It'll say it's actually red and full, and it's like only 5% of space is taken up. And it's like, oh, there was a different problem. So with that news, that'll be what I'll investigate, because I'll make the same kind of conclusion you hinted at, Rick. I'll be like, well, if there's no place to put the waste, it won't matter that one of the engines are down. So.
And red just indicates that there's a problem. It doesn't tell you what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll investigate the problem, because the engine being off, that's red. I know why. The red being there for waste containment, I don't know. I've got to go check out. So.
Yeah, and the engine being down was only yellow. So.
Oh yeah, yellow. Okay.
Because it's not necessarily a fault state.
It's down purposely, and the system knows
Maybe.
That it's not green.
Maybe.
It's not red. Meh.
It didn't die a horrible death and crash, right? It didn't just quit working. It noticed that there were shutdown procedures that were put in place. Still not great that you're moving through space and the engine's not running, but it's not necessarily in a critical state.
Yeah, especially with this ship being one that has so much kind of like backups kind of built in and automation.
On a ship this big with this much automation, you gotta have triple redundancies, essentially.
Yeah. So it's not a deal breaker, but it's still a problem, and that's why it's yellow.
And the bridge needs to be made aware of every time you do some stupid shit like take an engine down while you're, in the middle of fucking space.
Hell yeah. So yeah, I will again salute the captain and make sure that the captain knows. Yep, captain. I'm gonna head down to the waste containment and try to figure out the issue.
Okay. We're going to get to the waste containment here shortly. Ellipsis, while that's happening, what are you doing?
Well, if we've just unlocked, we've just decrypted the computer. What data can we recover?
So there are a couple of things that were saved. The one thing that you're going to there's 3 files that you're probably going to want to watch relatively quickly. One is the last captain's log during the boarding. The second one is a full ship video camera feed of the boarding / invasion, and then the third one is the external cameras of the invasion and boarding.
When the pirates took over.
Yep. So the captain made sure that those 3 files were saved, and then the rest of the data he started the process on, you can tell, and some of it's there. The pirates knew better than to expunge the maintenance logs, but other than that, everything that's non-essential was expunged by the pirates, other than what the captain was able, the minimal stuff that the captain was able to save.
Okay. So I'll just mention to Captain Bella here that I found these 3 files that we should probably just pop them up on the screen and watch them.
But I'm not in charge. Whatever. This is not going away, huh?
Finally, not Ty that everyone's going to.
Great.
So, yeah, I'm going to start by it's the captain's log. Is that audio, video, or text?
Start 8.
It's video.
It's video. So
they're all video.
Oh, they're all video. Let's start with the first one, and I'll put it up on the main viewer here on the bridge. See what it says.
Okay. So it's going to be like super up close and intense, like he's doing it on an iPad, essentially. It's like, we're being boarded. The pirates are coming aboard. I don't know where they came from. I don't know who they are. I don't know why they're trying to take our ship over, but they're going to kill all of us. If you find this, make sure someone sees it. Someone who can bring these bastards to justice. The next files that I'm saving are the internal cameras and then the external cameras, so that you can try and figure out who the fuck these people are and make my death worthy. It's the Klingon captain. You see him switch the camera to what is like essentially his Google Glass eye view, and then you see him fighting with like maybe 40 or 50 invading pirates. His other few members just trying to help him in this brutal fight, and then you see him taken. Goes black when they put a hood over his face for a second. They bring him down into the engine room and then rip his hood off, and essentially they beat him until he surrenders the passwords for the ship. It's unbelievably brutal, as you would probably imagine, to try and get a Klingon to give up the thing that he's trying to protect.
Exactly what I was thinking.
It's some things are worse than death, and it's difficult to imagine just how far they had to go, but you see all of it. from his eye view. It's one of those things that it kind of turns your stomach to see just what happened. Bella, this looks like fucking Thursday to you.
Yeah, actually, it looks like Thursday to me, but I also kind of have to take a minute. I might step out actually, and then right, okay, go back in.
You can kind of see him right before they kill him. But it's not uncommon to see tech powered by physiology. So like they probably suspected that there was a camera on him, but they couldn't find it. So they didn't take the time to cut it out or whatever. But once he was dead, the camera didn't have anything powering it because his heart wasn't beating anymore. So that's when the feed cuts off.
So you said there were like 40 or 50 of these pirates?
Mm-hmm.
During the interrogation, which by all accounts sounds like it was awful, was there any information that we could have gathered as to, who these pirates were and what they were after?
They were after just the ship. Like, from what you guys can tell, like just seeing the cargo, they were carrying like grain and cheese. Like they weren't exactly, doing anything that was, I mean, they were on an exploratory mission, for crying out loud. Like they weren't necessarily hauling anything from place to place. Like they just had, their own provisions.
Right.
And really what these guys were looking for was a ship that wasn't expected to be home for a while. These were clearly contracted corporate police. Ty, you especially are able to point that out very easily. And they were owned by Zona.
Okay.
There's nobody that you can necessarily recognize immediately, but their uniforms, their training, their tactics points them to you, Ty, points them out pretty specifically as Zona corporate police.
Okay.
It's not anything you could prove in a court of law because they're not that stupid or that brazen, especially in open space. But you're convinced.
These poor bastards were just in the wrong place at the wrong time then, huh?
Sounds like it.
That's
So
our
we
brave
could-
captain.
I have 2 more files here, team. If we can see if we can get more evidence that would hold up to confirm that they were from Zona.
If those videos are anything like what I just watched, I don't know if I can do it. That was something I don't think I want to remember.
Yes. It was. Yeah, it was not. It was not pleasant. I can check the other videos first.
So I'll watch with you. We'll put them back up on the main viewer. Ty, if you want to go elsewhere and work on something,
I'll
we
probably
can
head back down to the bubble,
or we can go to the captain's ready room and she and I can watch them on a smaller monitor.
I don't know what a ready room is, but
Do we have a ready room?
It's like a green room.
Yep.
okay.
If you need to have a private conversation without going all the way back to your quarters, or
Between the captain and the first mate.
yeah,
I imagine that like those little glass bubbles in the bridge are little, like almost igloos that are silenced off, so they're like
Stations.
little offices.
when
There
they're
you
not
go.
they're not even igloos. They're just like areas that if you push a button, it'll
Yeah.
snap shut.
That's cool.
So
He's
you want to
going
put it back up
down.
on the main viewer? That's fine. Ty's gonna go dig the graves for the dearly departed from the Iron Eagle.
Don't bury them without me, okay?
Understood.
I'm not in charge. I'm asking.
And he walks away.
So
Great.
good. All right. Which video do you want to watch?
Do we want to start with the outside
drink.
and then move to the inside? That would be chronological if we view them that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we'll start with the external recording.
Okay. The way the external recording works is there's about 20 cameras on the outside of the ship, and each one of them has their own unique feed. They're all moving at about 5 to 10 frames a second, so they're a little choppy. But because they're external cameras, you don't necessarily always have to have high def, right? And so they're sort of grainy at first because stuff is really, really, really far away. But you can begin to make out there are a couple of ships, and you get their transponder codes. They're just numbers, but that's not something that necessarily puts you off. So it's something that you can So there's one that is about 4 or 5 times bigger than the boss lady. And that is its designation.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
And then there's one that is about half the size of the boss lady. And that is its designation. It's going to take you some time, and you're probably going to have to be in a port to do it, but you're pretty sure with those transponder codes you can figure out exactly who they are and what they were doing.
All right, I will let Bella know that I think that with just from that, those details from that video, that's something I can look at the next time we're either in a port or, depending on what Talon knows, we might be able to check in with him too. But at least we've got something to work with from that for identifying.
The other thing you see is that they perform a pretty standard docking maneuver. And then the Iron Eagle opens the docking bay doors without a fuss.
That's strange. Wasn't I say, Bella, did that look like a forced entry to you?
No, why would they open the doors for them?
Yeah, that's
Captain.
strange.
Who would have been in charge of that?
What is the timestamp on this video before or after the timestamp on the captain's final log?
It's after.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's before.
Before.
Yeah, it's before.
Okay. So that makes me wonder if
You got hoodwinked or something.
yeah. So maybe the Iron Eagle crew thought that these were friendlies.
Super unlikely that they were friendlies.
He seemed to be pretty sure that they were pirates when he made his last video stating that they were being boarded.
Yeah, but that he filmed that after they had opened the door,
Right. So they were already on the ship when he
realized his mistake.
Yeah.
It could have been like a traffic stop almost.
Oh, that could be.
You're pretty sure that they were not expecting friends.
He just
It would be
seemed-
super uncommon for, I mean, not unheard of totally, but it'd be like a 1% chance that they were expecting friends and opened the doors for them.
Yeah.
Is there a way to
Like-
hack into another ship's?
I wonder if, this ship might have been on a Zona training or trading path, more or less, and fell under their jurisdiction. And they saw that as an opportunity to commandeer a ship.
Maybe.
But
Maybe they
how
put
did
on
they
a
get the
distress-
doors open?
Maybe they pretended to be damaged or something like.
Is there anything more to this video, or does it cut off with the doors opening and?
There's a lot more video, but it's just of the ship being
The ship.
docked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it
Uh,
undocks and leaves, like almost a day later.
Okay.
So then
So let's.
do the next one.
Yep. So let's check the third video, the inside of the boarding event.
Yep. So, again, there's probably 35, 40 cameras inside the ship, and each one of them has their own feed at a few frames per second, just to save on storage. But when there's motion, it goes to full resolution, 120 frames per second, like full definition video, right? So the one that you're going to want to focus on first is the docking bay. And you'll see that there are no members of the crew in the docking bay when the doors open. There's also the video of the bridge when the docking bay doors open. You'll see frantic crew members trying to run from station to station, throwing their hands in the air. Just confusion and chaos on the bridge.
Was there? And I know I'm not in there, but question by proxy, I suppose. In the video, is there evidence that there are only 4 original crew members, or are there more somewhere?
Yeah, there's only 4 original crew
Okay.
members.
So the first one just shows chaos, basically,
So
and panic.
the docking bay video shows the doors opening without the crew, and the bridge video at the same timestamp shows the crew frantically going from station to station. Not like clearly they don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Then when the docking bay doors open, you'll see 2 squads of about 20 men each come out. Black uniforms, helmets, fucking automatic laser weapons. They're essentially stormtroopers. Copyright reasons, we can't have those. But they're on a search and destroy mission, essentially.
With your support, viewers, we might get that sponsorship, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
Disney owned right here.
Yeah. So the stormtroopers come on. They, jackbooted thugs. They're coming in. They go through the cargo bay. They look like they know their way around. They go straight to the bridge and overwhelm the crew members. You'll see a lot of the same things that you saw on the captain's video, but from different angles. You'll see just how overwhelmed they were. And it looks like all of the systems were already locked out by the time the insurgents got to the bridge.
They're probably remotely hacked then.
Mm-hmm.
That
You're
makes
prudent enough to turn it off before they get to the engine room.
The counter hacker in me recognizes, like, if they were hacked from the outside, I want to check and see if that vulnerability still exists as something that we can patch up now that we're running the ship.
Roll interface.
All right, +2.
Okay. They were not externally hacked.
Okay.
The rogue AI that you guys put into into cold storage was loaded onto the ship when they took the contract.
All right.
It was already here.
They were set up. Okay.
They were fucked before they got on their way.
Damn.
So that's how they were able to be locked out of their systems and have full control to be able to dock without the crew being able to do anything about it.
Well, now I'm doubly glad that we got it out of the system. That would have been a major issue for us going forward, possibly, if we had any more Zona patrols.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Definitely could have been.
Well.
Sprocket, how are things going down in the engine room?
I've moved. I'm at the waste control thing, right? That's where I was heading to last.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I imagine once I get down there, I want to start to take a look, kind of like I did with the engine. Get into there, try to take a look at any readings that are going on, see if there's some sort of information being inaccurately processed up to the bridge. Like, is it actually showing as like nearing full, or is there any sort of actually like issues coming across the board? Like, what do I see before I get into it?
The containment tank for the waste looks about where you'd think it should.
Okay, so it's not that it's somehow filling up more. There's something else. Okay.
It's not with the level in the tank, which is a pretty safe assumption for when you see red on waste, it means the tank's full, but
Yeah,
in this
exactly,
particular
right.
case, it's not.
Yeah, it didn't add up, so of course that would be the first thing I would check. I would like to at least first and foremost, I guess, run some sort of diagnostic on the waste management program, see if it's just some sort of little glitch from all the computer chaos we've been dealing with lately.
Yep. So it doesn't appear to be a glitch. As you run the test back from the tank to the engine, so every time and I don't know how much you've done with like actual diagnostic testing, but like it stops when it hits the first break, right? So if there's 7 breaks, the first time you run the diagnostic, you're only going to find 1.
Yeah.
So between the tank and the engine are several different turbines where things are moving, and there's several different sensors that are in place to make sure everything's flowing properly, and there's all sorts of different pipes and junctions and different things. And one of the junctions that's nearest to the tank has a sensor on it, and that sensor has gone bad.
Okay. So maybe it's just the sensor and everything's going to be fine.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'll go take a look at that sensor and see if I can determine if there is some sort of damage, if I got to replace it, can repair it, or if it's actually fine.
Okay.
Which then I would be curious how the diagnostic messed up.
So, a couple of problems in checking the sensor out. You have to take part of the pipe apart, which you have to shut the engine down for, which you already did. The other thing is, this is ultra radioactive nuclear waste.
Yeah. So the sensor actually is in contact, or at least within an unshielded area for that radioactivity?
Essentially, think of it like a pipe, right?
Yeah.
The sensor sticks down into the pipe, right? And then it comes up, and then there's like a little thing that you can read the sensor.
So I can access what's outside, but the actual sensor that's in contact with the waste, even if I were to remove it safely, that's still something that's got radioactivity exposure.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine like there's got to be processes in place on a ship like this, a suit, something like that I can put on before I go about doing any of that
There is.
hazard up.
There is. This ship's never seen a Grum before.
Oh shit, that's right. God damn
Suits
it.
only have 2 arms.
How big is this area that I'm working within? Is it pretty narrow, or is it pretty much like a giant conduit running through this engine area to like allow all this waste? Or like,
yeah, you've got plenty of space.
Okay, because I was gonna say I think I would at that point I'd want to leverage the use of my like mech.
Yeah, that's great.
I have my mech warrior welding rig.
Whoa.
Weld, I imagine that I can hopefully get real nuanced like those great guys you see using bulldozers and stuff where I'm like whoop, whoop.
Oh yeah.
I even put a mech in there for you.
Fuck yeah. What?
God.
Where is it?
So there's a smaller one in the EVA airlock up front, and then there's a big one in the cargo room.
I see it. That's so fucking rad.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's so badass.
Wow.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
honestly
I'm gonna get my mech.
inside the engine room. You're probably gonna want to use the EVA one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm figuring, obviously these things are meant to handle anything and everything. They'll handle the radioactivity just fine. So,
Ultra fine precision and super thick shielding
yeah.
aces.
So yeah, I'll interact with that sensor that way. I'll turn off the flow, whatever I've got to do to make sure that at least temporarily, the engine's off, but I'd like to make sure that that area is somewhat clear in case of any sort of breach. But pull out the sensor mechanism, run a diagnostic on it from the end of my inputs, I imagine, on my mech warrior.
Let's roll expertise.
Boop, boop. Expertise, that would be my plus one.
All right.
Yeah.
Success.
I'll take it. Yeah.
The sensor is fried and you replace it just fine, but this is not the only error.
So when I rerun the diagnostic, is that at least getting past this point?
It is.
Now it's going, where's it bricking now?
So it's not a sensor now. One of the further down the way, there is a pipe that is completely clogged. So when you opened up the first set to replace the sensor, you were kind of surprised that there was just like a trickle. There wasn't really like any waste that had to. Normally, when you open up a plumbing system,
Yeah, I have to worry about some sort of containment
it
issue.
makes
so
a
I
giant
prepare
mess,
accordingly.
right?
Yeah.
You ever opened up a pipe under your sink or whatever?
Yeah, right. And
It
it's like you
fucking-
expect madness.
Yeah. It gets everywhere.
But
I
in
mean,
this case, it was basically nothing.
there was still some, but it was way less than you expected, right?
All right.
There is a full blockage about 100, like maybe 100, sections back.
Yeah. Now, unless you're picturing something different in the way that like this nuclear waste would work, there's generally not chunky bits in this kind of waste. I'm worried about what this might be that got put into the waste system. Yeah. Okay, good. I was gonna say I'm putting together the bits of like this is not a problem that generally exists.
Nope.
Maybe in other systems,
yeah,
never in
not
a
in this one.
nuclear waste removal system.
Yeah,
Oh,
this system
shit.
is
Well,
not built to be clogged.
Yeah, me and my mech are going to be at it again. I'm going to try to, get to that and make sure that I'm having whatever suction can happen to clear out as much of the waste as possible before I imagine I start cutting some pipe. So,
I would highly recommend against cutting. Maybe unscrewing.
oh, there we go. Yeah, if it's not like some long unified, yeah, if I can just take a bit out.
No, it's in sections on purpose.
Okay, cool.
Because, when you're in space by yourself for 2 years, shit breaks. And
Oh, nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
You
The
have
ship
to have
is made so
spares
that
for
it can be
everything.
swapped out constantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Then
Um,
I'll do whatever's necessary to lock down the additional ends, get that piece removed, and from the safety of my mech, whenever the time comes, investigate whatever the fuck that is inside that piece of tubing.
let's do one more roll.
Uh-oh.
Okay. You have enough expertise to know that when you swap this out, you really don't want to cut on it. And so you find the valve before it, lock it down, slowly open it up and drain the one before where the blockage, and open up the one after, and then replace all three.
Nice.
Right? Those sections are no problem for the mech. If you hadn't done it with your mech, it would have been a huge pain in the ass because they weigh about 80 kilos apiece.
Woo!
So,
Mechs.
yeah. Mech Warrior made that a hell of a lot easier. Nice job.
I'm glad I
on
chose
the,
that and finally got to use it. That's
nice
fucking
job
awesome.
on the roll there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When you inspect the clogged piece, it's not pretty. It's chunks and viscera and goo and just, it's all bad.
Yum.
This is even having, and I'm not trying to tell you how your character feels or how you act, but even having separated the boxes before, you know that this is not gonna get separated out.
Yeah. This is something you don't see every day, for sure, despite all the time working in that bay and cleaning out shit in the ships and fixing systems. This is uniquely rough.
Yeah. So there are 2 more burnout sensors and a filter that also need to be replaced, and it's going to take you a while to get all of this out and get that stuff back in. But fast forward until you've successfully done all of that, and the engine is ready to be powered back up.
Nice. And we got green lights on waste management system now, or we won't know until the engine's fired up?
You have yellow lights on the waste management system because there's nothing flowing through it.
Perfect.
But that's what you expected.
Yeah.
It'll be green when there's waste flowing, but right now everything's stopped. So
yeah, that makes sense. Cool. I will head back to the engine, resolve anything else that I have to do there so that I can get it back online. Continue to clean up bits.
At this point, everything's pretty much cleaned up.
Yeah.
Although you have 2 bolts and 1 nut that you're not really sure where they go.
The classic IKEA problem.
Extra parts.
Even in space.
Yep.
Even in space.
Lucky for you, there is a large area inside the engine room for sorting and keeping of spare bolts.
There we go.
So
Proverbial space junk drawer.
Yeah, there's
Yep. That's exactly what I open it. There's a remote control. There's like rubber bands. I'm like,
there's a spork with a napkin wrapped around it. Where the fuck
yeah,
did this
one
come
of those things that come with the salt and pepper napkin and all of it. And I'm like,
slightly
Loose
concerning
matches.
number of extra bolts.
yeah, there's like
Ooh.
there's a Klingon Playboy, and I'm just like, no.
from? Ah.
There's an Iron Eagle.
Yeah. Iron Eagle Monthly, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, it's just close-ups of buttholes.
oh, bipedal organisms. Oh, they're so cool.
Oh God.
Delightful. Yes, I'll put the nuts and bolts away and fire up the engine if she's ready to go. Looking for them green lights from my captain.
Oh, hey, the first time Sprocket walked on the bridge earlier, did he get an assignment? A crew assignment?
That would be great if the computer's like fourth organism identified. I figured I'm just like secretly gonna be down low fucking engineer at this point.
It's just the engineer.
No, you already had access. It knew you were the engineer.
Okay.
Nice, dope.
Yeah, it's
That's fucking cool.
yeah, it knew you were the maintenance tech. So
It's like this life form is playing with my bits. That's obviously an engineer. I'm down there tickling the engine.
yeah, pretty much.
Can't wait to hear what the computer decides Parker's job is.
Oh my god,
Oh boy.
that'll be something. I'm sure of it.
Yep. All right.
That's awesome.
So we're pretty much through everything I had planned for tonight.
Noise.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you'd like to do before you meet up with Talon?
I have a funeral.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you got a
yeah.
funeral
Yes.
you were gonna
Yeah.
describe.
I apologize, Maggie. I spaced that. That's
No, that's
my fault.
Do you have music ready?
Let's
Do
perform
we have to
the-
say anything?
Perform the rites for the crew members of the Iron Eagle.
Yeah, so I'm gonna while they're all doing that, I was gonna go down, back down with bodies. I'm actually gonna go into that bubble room and go around to each of the plants and collect some of the herbs or leaves or whatever there is, and then a little bit of dirt. I'm gonna go into the kitchen, find whatever I can that could resemble an herb pouch or cheesecloth or something.
Yeah, there's all of that there.
Okay, so I'm gonna put all of, not the dirt, but everything else into an herb cloth and make some tea with these herbs and leaves. And then I'm gonna put the dirt into a muddler and try and make a clay out of it.
Okay.
And then that probably takes a little bit of time, but once I have tea, I will grab the teapot and a large bowl like this.
So there's stainless steel and terracotta bowls.
So something that I can hold hot liquid in without burning my hands.
So probably terracotta then.
Yeah. And take those in there. I will. I don't know if anybody else is down there with me.
Ty was down there.
Okay. I'm gonna set up some sage to burn near the bodies, and then this part I don't know if it'll work, but I do want to get some water and a cloth and try to at least ritualistically clean the bodies. I will avoid a wiping motion as much as just a patting.
So you're gonna realize pretty quickly that you're gonna want to do more of an anointing sort of thing with water than actually trying to clean them.
So part of the ritual that I'm used to is ritualistically cleaning the body, but I will makeshift that however I can.
Yeah, the thought's there. The action can't be.
All with the sage kind of burning near or around them, and then I will. I'm gonna take the clay and spread some across my forehead and forearms, and then I will do the same to Ty if he'll let me.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I'm gonna pour the tea into the bowl, and I'll offer some to Ty.
Ty would hesitate, but accept.
And I would just say, remember that we come from the dirt, and we will return one day. These people's bodies will help to grow the leaves that will make this tea in the future. And then I will drink some of the tea. I'm gonna after that take some of the clay and just again avoid wiping, but just a little bit across each forehead. Yeah, and then I'm gonna come back around to the captain and kneel down. I have that key.
So before you get back to the captain, you're going to, even though the wiping motion kind of brings off and sort of leaves it, as you wipe the first one, the clay comes off your thumb, and then some of them sticks to your thumb. So when you go to the next one, they're already sort of mixing into the clay.
Okay, that's poetic. I'm gonna go back to the captain, and I have that key that was on a necklace, but we need that key. So I'm gonna take it off, and I'm going to reach in and take out my lucky rabbit's foot and put it on the necklace.
That you don't need the key anymore.
Okay, so I'll give him back his key and put it around his neck, and I'm still going to tuck in my lucky rabbit's foot with him. and just say, we will honor your sacrifices and make sure that your death was a noble one. And then it'll lower them in and continue burning the sage while we fill up the holes.
Ty would just be very silent for most of it, but after a long, awkward silence, he'd say, that was beautiful. Is that from home?
It is from home, yes. My grandmother was, chief is not the word, but she was like a medicine man, if you will, to some of our people. So I got to witness a lot of that. I don't know that I've really earned the right to do those rituals, but I will. Nobody else was here, so.
Well, you did a fine job.
Thank you.
As you're shoveling the dirt over the vessels of the departed, you smell more than just the sage smoke. You smell the campfire that was always outside your home when you were growing up. And in the evenings outside your grandmother's home, she always had jasmine. And even though there isn't any here, for a few seconds you can distinctly smell jasmine.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good thing that we did, and I haven't done a good thing in a long time. Thank you for doing it with me.
I would hope someone would do the same for us.
Hopefully our little mission here will bring this captain the peace that he deserves.
I agree. Poor bastard.
Yeah, that sucked.
All right, so you guys are now at the rendezvous point. No sign of Card or his people, but that's to be expected. Their ship is not as fast as yours, and they were traveling through a different route, so you're not necessarily scheduled to meet for another day or two, but you're at the rendezvous point. And when next we meet our heroes, we will be rendezvousing with the wild card.
Cool.
Nice.
Everybody say goodnight, Internet.
Good night,
Good night,
Internet.
Night, Internet.